Hello, everybody, and welcome to UpRise Live. It's Thursday, it's 3-ish, and we are so glad that you are here today joining us. We're glad to have you all here. I'm so excited for who we get to talk to today. But first, I want you to see the camera angles are a little different, and that's because our executive producer, Courtney, has helped us get upgraded again. Can you believe it? So for all those who are keeping track of the wizard behind the wall who's making things happen, in the comments, say hello again to our fabulous executive producer for the new angles that you see. But today we're so excited here for you all to get to meet one of our fabulous board members and also one of the strongest supporters of UpRise. Amanda, we're so glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Al.
And so we get to talk today with you about not just your experiences with UpRise, but some of the things in your career that you're able to translate when you're talking to a leader and things like that. So thank you for joining us. And I guess to kick off, tell us how you came in contact with UpRise.
Yeah. So I've been a member of West End Community Church for about 15 years. And as I was transitioning out of my corporate career a few years ago, I was introduced to Carol Peterson. I had some more time on my hands, and so I wanted to get more involved in church, and UpRise was just launching around that time. And so I met with Carol, and she just asked if I'd be willing to be involved in training camp. And we were all guinea pigs that first year, and so I was happy to say yes and had the opportunity to be an ally and get to know leaders and follow them through training camp. It was amazing.
And that's one of the best things is hearing about first training camp, second training camps. Amanda has journeyed with UpRise from the very, as you said, if you've seen the videos, or when you do see the videos, you'll hear me talk about Alpha class all the way up to the class that's starting next Tuesday. Heart is beating really fast. We're getting ready for a Theta class. And so if you're like, what number is that? Look up the Greek alphabet and you'll find what number we're at now. So
I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll cheat. I'll cheat. I run them all off, but I want somebody to look it up and be able to see what class you're on now. So can you tell me what do you remember from that very first class?
Oh gosh, I think probably the individual leader stories, right? And so their stories of their family background, what they've dealt with and gone through in their lives, the chaos around some of their stories and just how they persevered, and just the fact that they were so willing to put their family and their community first by saying, I want to find a better job, a job with upward mobility where I'm valued and seen for who I am and what I bring to the table. I was just so impressed by their grit and their ability just to power through the things that are going on in their lives. Because they knew that something better was out there.
And Amanda mentioned upward mobility. And for those who are keeping up, for everybody who's sitting here thinking about UpRise, know that upward mobility, those words are so close, right? Upward mobility is one of the things in the career path that we're looking at is you having not just a good job, but a job with upward mobility, meaning that the time you're spending on that job is worth something because there are opportunities for you to move forward. And part of your story is being able to see upward mobility and capitalize their move. And I want you to share sort of your feelings about what does upward mobility mean and how does it help in a career? Tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I feel like in my career, I've had a lot of luck, and I've been I've been able to be a part of companies where I had great employers and great people by my side helping me figure out how to get on a path of upward mobility, good mentors. I'm a physical therapist by trade. And so, I started out as a clinician. And so as a clinician, you're treating patients all day long. And so what I realized in the beginning, because I worked for a company that was always very busy, we had lots of patients, which is great. We got lots of referrals from physicians because they valued the high quality clinical skills that we had. And so we were always busy, but patients were always needing to get in at the last minute, or maybe they had to cancel from another day and needed to get in. And it was hard sometimes to fit those patients in because it meant that you had to stay late or work through your lunch. And we always had a bunch of documentation to do, which takes up a lot of time. But I was willing to say yes to get those patients in because I cared about the people getting the treatment they needed to help with their pain and their function. And so saying yes to seeing maybe more patients that were on my schedule, or staying late, or willing to treat somebody, during lunch or come in early, my employers began to recognize that, I think, as, I was reliable. And I also cared about the people in which I was serving in my job. And so those are the things that really, I think, gave me the opportunities for upward mobility. It was less about, my credentials or what degree I got or what school I went to or how many years I was in school. It was really more about, my ability to say yes, or my willingness, maybe is a better word, just to say yes to these things. And my employers, they recognized it. And so they would give me an opportunity to lead a clinic. And then it was leading 3 clinics. And then it just kept, going. I had opportunities to have ownership. And then was able to be in a VP role leading 100 locations. And so this happened over 20 years. Right. So it took a long time to get there, but it really was me saying yes to what things, people put in front of me. And then on the flip side, I had the opportunity to provide those same opportunities for some of my clinicians and my employees. And so I was able to give back, or give back maybe is not the right word, but I was able to provide that pathway for other people because it was given to me first.
And so I love the fact that we talk about it's not necessarily you coming in with all the credentials, but it's you getting in and starting at the ground level, and then really taking opportunities and taking chances to and really capitalizing on all of those opportunities and those moments when they needed extra things. You were able to do that. So you capitalized on those moments.
Absolutely.
And so if you were talking to a leader, what would you tell them about they're in the job or they're about to start this process? What would you tell them about capitalizing on those moments?
Yeah, that's a great question, Al. I think the word that I keep coming back to is just willingness, and willingness to say yes, right? And so being available and being reliable. Simple things that I know sometimes don't seem maybe that important, but they speak volumes about your commitment and loyalty to the job is being at work early. Not like rushing in, right on time, clocking in, but like being there 10 minutes early so that you're really set up and ready to go, once your time starts. And then just willing to work with your team members. If maybe a team member has, an important thing on Friday for their child at their child's school, but they can't go because they have to work. And maybe you say, I'll work for you on Friday afternoon. I'll take your shift so that you can go. And you're likely going to get that back twofold, not only from that team member, but from your employers as well. Your employers see these things. They see them. They recognize them. They are the intangibles that speak volumes to the employer that you're willing, you're reliable, and you're loyal. And those things you just can't put a price on. They're so valuable to an organization.
And so in talking about careers and things and talking to a leader, for a leader who's watching this and they're interested in the program, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to a leader who's thinking about the program?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. When I think about UpRise, I sort of put the value of UpRise in kind of 2 buckets. We have some objective value, and then there's also some subjective stuff that I want to touch on. So objectively, I think UpRise gives you a lot of access. When you're in a job that is going nowhere, or maybe it's not paying what you want, it's not fulfilling, what you need. Sometimes you just need access to either further training or to people that can help you find the job that makes the most sense for you. And UpRise helps do that. It gives you access to a support system. It gives you access to jobs. It gives you access to training in a way that I believe there are no other career development programs out there that do it quite as well as UpRise. The intangibles, which really are tangible, is more of the subjective advantages of UpRise, and that is the relationships and the support system that comes with this program. Now, that is absolutely a unique aspect of UpRise compared to other career development programs. And I think if you were to ask our UpRise leaders, what they value most, they would talk about these things. The support system, both with the UpRise staff as well as your fellow UpRise leaders, is just something I think that you can't put a price on. You can't quite describe it until you're in it. But the value of it is just so exponential in helping you get through this transition time of being in school, getting your credentials, and then getting back out into the workforce, hopefully into a better job with upward mobility. And then just the relationships that come from that carry through for a long time after this program is over. Again, the relationships with the staff, this is not a one and done. You're here for a year and then you're gone. These relationships are kept, after the year program with UpRise. And I've just seen so many amazing stories and so many amazing transformations within our leaders because of these relationships. That is the unique aspect of what this organization does. But you certainly, the reason to get in is to give you access and set you on a path. But the reason that our leaders are successful, I believe, is because of the relationships.
And not only a leader, but you've had the experience of being able to be a volunteer and an advocate, and actually be through all the additional roles that have been part of UpRise, where somebody's able to pour into our organization. And so, in terms of thinking about someone who might see this and they're thinking about, can I be an advocate? Can I help? How do I stand with great leaders here at UpRise? What would you say to them?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, it has been my greatest privilege to be a part of this program. Certainly as a board member, but as an ally and just a part of training camp and helping with interviews and resumes. Anyone who's thinking about being a part of it and you're wondering, what do I have to offer? You have things to offer. Like I said, the relationship piece is so valuable for our UpRise leaders. And so if you are someone that can just provide the other side of a relationship, that in and of itself is a reason to get involved. If any of this, touches your heart in a way that makes you think, gosh, I want to be a part of that. I want to know more about it. Don't worry about what you have or don't have to bring to the table. You have what it takes to be a volunteer. You can be a volunteer for a small number of hours or a large number of hours. There are a wide range of opportunities, and all of them are they're fun and they're fulfilling, and it just provides such value for these leaders, and they're all so grateful. I think I know this happened to me. I just made friendships and developed relationships that I probably wouldn't have otherwise had if it wasn't for this UpRise program. And so I was grateful to just sort of step out of my own comfort zone and hear these stories, leaders, and also just to be able to experience, witness, their perseverance and their grit, and to see them on the other side was just so fulfilling. So if you're thinking about being a volunteer, just say yes. That's sort of the theme of this whole thing. Like, just say yes. Say yes to the opportunity. Exactly. You just won't regret it.
You will not regret it. And so for a couple of different people, as we said before, we'll start with anybody who's interested in being part of UpRise, outside of being a leader, if you're interested in volunteering, being an advocate, if you want to get more information on how you can partner and walk with UpRise in any way, you're going to click and send us a direct message. If you're watching this on Instagram or on Facebook, send a direct message, and that will take you right to our executive producer behind the camera, of course, who will be able to provide you with all the opportunities if you want to walk with our fabulous leaders that want to go hand in hand to make them great and be part of their journey, you have that availability. If you're interested in joining UpRise, you are early to the party for our June class. And so next week we start, and we're closed on recruiting now for our February 16th class. But next week, you will have the ability, and starting March 2nd, you will have the ability to get ready for our June class. And so if you're interested, click any of the buttons, sign up, we'll get you signed up for the next class, and you'll be all set to go. And so we say thank you to everybody. Thank you for being available. Thank you for reaching out. And thank you for being part of UpRise Live today. We'll see you later.
Bye.